Mr. President, Secretary General, distinguished members of the Parliamentary Assembly, dear colleagues, I'm also your Secretary General. Thank you so much for inviting me to take part in this important meeting. Europe is currently experiencing a multiplicity of security challenges and threats to cooperation unlike any we have seen before. Divisions and distrust among and within participating states are on the rise. Military conflict has re-emerged against the backdrop of increasing unpredictability. Nationalist and populist rhetoric is fostering unilateral and unconstructive approaches. Profound disagreements on how to apply the principles and commitments of our common security space put stability at stake in the OSCE area. Distinguished members of the Parliamentary Assembly, we need to avoid discussions that lead to mutual accusations and the repetition of well-known positions. We will only succeed in re-establishing a security order based on mutual trust and based on shared rules if we take seriously the OSCE's raison d'être, enhancing meaningful and constructive dialogue. New ideas and creative approaches are needed now more than ever. William Blake famously said, "What is now proved was once only imagined." I find it inspiring to recall how the heads of state and government who gathered in Istanbul in 1999 saw the Parliamentary Assembly as an institution, and I quote, "continuously providing new ideas and proposals," end of quote. European security is in need of innovative approaches, and the PA has proven to be an excellent source. In today's world, multilateralism and multilateral institutions are targets of acute criticism. And many of our citizens share this view. To ensure that the OSCE is sensitive to the aspirations and needs of our citizens, we need you, the Parliamentary Assembly, to represent their voices. The OSCE PA is by definition the most diverse and pluralistic of our structures. You represent a great variety of perspectives and interests. But we also need to be able to convey what we do and why it matters. As OSCE PA members, you are in a privileged position. And you have the great responsibility to connect our organization with the political establishment, as well as with grassroots communities and civil society. You are also extremely well placed to engage in parliamentary diplomacy. Parliamentary diplomacy, an essential tool for managing and preventing conflict. Parliamentarians, with your unique access to decision makers in governments and political parties, have proven to be effective many times in the past. And ladies and gentlemen, currently there is a specific case where I see great potential for your involvement. Athens and Skopje recently reached a historic agreement on the long-standing name dispute that could pave the way for a full-fledged European future for the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. But to be effective and to enter into force, the agreement needs strong political support, including the support of both legislative bodies. As OSCE PA members, you can play a critical role in supporting constructive and results-oriented discussions. Ladies and gentlemen, the OSCE is a respected voice for security and cooperation in Europe, and it is widely seen as a cost-effective organization. We can be proud of our successes in key areas. Allow me to briefly highlight just a few of them. We continue to provide platforms for dialogue, including in the politico-military sphere. Currently, our flagship initiative is the structured dialogue process, where capitals play a vital role. The structured dialogue has stimulated useful exchanges on threat perceptions, on force postures, and on military doctrines. I hope the process will reinvigorate existing confidence and security building measures, and perhaps, further down the road, even revive genuine interest in conventional arms control. A number of practical, verifiable steps could be considered to ease tensions. These could include enhancing measures on incident prevention, self-restraint measures, voluntary notification of major exercises, and complementary regional confidence and security building measures, such as information exchange and additional visits. To achieve those goals, we will need political will, and we need your support. The OSCE continues to play a critical role in addressing the biggest obstacle to European security and cooperation, the crisis in and around Ukraine. The human cost of the conflict in eastern Ukraine is devastating. The failure of the sides to respect the ceasefire or to withdraw heavy weapons continues to result in civilian death and injuries. Access to basic necessities like water, food, and medicine is severely curtailed for hundreds of thousands of people on both sides of the contact line. Our special monitoring mission to Ukraine, operating in increasingly difficult conditions, continues to monitor the situation, assist civilians, and support meaningful dialogue. The sides should fulfill their commitments and guarantee our monitors' safety, and grant them unhindered access throughout the conflict zone. And they also need to stop targeting our UAVs. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a new political impulse to break the current deadlock. After more than 4 years of fighting, military logic prevails. So I'm encouraged that the Normandy 4 are re-engaging at high levels. There is no real alternative to the Minsk agreements, if you like it or not, and the parties should fully implement them. If agreement should be reached on launching a peace operation in eastern Ukraine, we are, of course, ready to closely cooperate with the UN. We have proven our worth as an impartial observer and as an honest broker. I'm convinced that achieving a peaceful settlement in eastern Ukraine is possible, but the responsibility for peace lies with the parties, and I urge all who have influence on the sides to press them harder to take real and to take substantial steps to end the conflict. Ultimately, achieving sustainable peace in eastern Ukraine hinges on political will. This is obviously also true for the protracted conflicts in our region. So I'm pleased by recent positive developments in the Transnistrian settlement process, in which the OSCE plays a key role. Joint efforts have resulted in tangible progress for residents of both banks, positively influencing citizens' everyday lives. This, ladies and gentlemen, demonstrates that cooperation is possible and can lead to results even in protracted conflicts. So we must intensify our efforts to work together constructively in all the existing mediation formats, including by bringing more women to the negotiation tables. The evidence is indisputable that the meaningful engagement of women in peace processes leads to more effective and to more sustainable outcomes. A failure to include women is a waste of resources and a missed opportunity to use all possible factors to achieve peace. The OSCE is well prepared to rebuild trust through incremental, step-by-step approaches. We already do this in many areas, such as combating trafficking of human beings, weapons and drugs, or countering violent extremism. Our 16 cybersecurity confidence-building measures are another excellent example. Agreed by consensus, they aim to lower the risk of misperception and miscalculation connected to the use of information technologies by state authorities. Now we need to focus on their implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, in turbulent times, taking new approaches and exploring creative ideas can paradoxically be the best way to remain committed to our core principles. This is part of my rationale for proposing a reform agenda for the OSCE. A reform agenda to ensure the organization remains fit for purpose and ready to seize opportunities for cooperation. Constructive discussions with participating states on how to improve the budget cycle are already taking place. And I do hope to conclude this part of the reform before we leave for summer recess in a few weeks. In April, a few months ago, I convened a Security Days expert roundtable to explore how the OSCE can further strengthen the effectiveness of our existing work in the field, as well as explore new ideas of adding value on the ground, such as by creating thematic hubs and liaison offices. A new regional dynamic in Central Asia and positive developments in the Western Balkans are creating openings where the OSCE can make a difference. We also have opportunities for intensified cooperation with our Mediterranean and with our Asian partners. Indeed, leveraging partnerships is another crucial element of the reform agenda, and not only with our Mediterranean and Asian partners, but also with the UN and other regional organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, further steps are also needed to bring youth and gender perspectives and concerns into the mainstream of our work. There is also room for improving administrative and organizational procedures on issues such as human resource policies and information technology systems. Currently, a management review of the Secretariat, supported by the private consultancy firm Ernst & Young, is taking place. It will soon provide a number of action-oriented and practical recommendations that will increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of the organization. So I'm contributing the Secretariat's part to making the OSCE fit for purpose. However, this is not enough. Today, the OSCE is at crossroads politically, strategically, but also financially. And we need to collectively engage in recreating a shared vision of the OSCE's future. Ladies and gentlemen, this organization suffers from chronic underfunding. If the current zero nominal growth policies continue, our unified budget will be reduced in real terms by 10% by 2025. This situation will result in a weakening of our relevance as an organization and in a reduction in our capacity to strengthen security for our participating states. And we will also face increasing exposure to legal, financial, operational, and reputational risks. Due to the budget negotiated vacancy rate within the Secretariat, currently approximately 1 in every 20 posts are not funded. So I start the year with uncovered expenses amounting to 1.6 million euros. This underfunding is managed by not hiring staff that is needed to carry out the planned programmatic activities or underspending operating costs, which likewise result in cancellation of activities. Ladies and gentlemen, this approach is simply not sustainable. It also contains a contradiction. The executive structures will not be able to deliver what participating states have asked them to do at the beginning of the year. The unified budget of the OSCE equals the cost of a modern F-22 jet fighter. My question to you, is cooperative security not worth a slightly higher investment? The alternative to properly funding the OSCE is to cut down on activities and to right-size the organization to match the available funding. This option would require rethinking our priorities to reduce activities and programs deemed less critical. The decision is up to participating states, and legislative bodies and parliamentarians across our region will, I hope, have their say. Dear colleagues, let me conclude on a more positive note. We will only succeed if we work together, with a sense of common purpose across the entire OSCE family. As Secretary General, I'm deeply satisfied with the excellent relations that the OSCE Secretariat and the Parliamentary Assembly maintain at all levels. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to President Zaretelli and Secretary General Montella, as well as to their able teams for this collaborative and for this constructive approach. And I do look forward to further strengthening our ties in the future. Thank you very much for your attention.